This is the Rocky Flats Cold War Museum Oral History Project. I'm Hannah Nordhaus, and I'm interviewing Vern Dingman. It's the 6th of April, 2005, and we're at Vern's house here in Longmont. So Vern, to get started, if you could just tell me a little bit about your background, where you were born, what your parents did.
Well, I was born here in Longmont, went to school here, then went in the military. When I graduated, it was during the Korean, and then when I spent 4 years and I got out of the military, well, I worked in the military and in the weapons, nuclear weapons. So I knew a couple of civilians at the site I was at. Mr. Eystone was one of them. DOE. Well, then it was not DOE. It was AEC, Atomic Energy Commission. And he knew I was getting discharged. I was going home, and he told me, he said, "Hey, you know, go out to Rocky Flats." And I said, "Well, what's there?" He said, "I'm not telling you. I'm just telling you. When you get home, go to Rocky Flats. If you're serious about doing that," he says, "I'll get your clearance number." And he got my clearance number and gave it to me before I left California when I got discharged.
What's the clearance number?
Oh, my security clearance.
Oh.
AEC Q clearance. That was, of course, in Washington, I guess, you know, and he got that number. And he says, "Take this number with you if you want to go out there and see if you can get a job." So I went out there and talked to him. They said, "Yeah, you come back in a couple of days. We've got a couple of managers that want to talk to you." And I said, "Okay." So I went back. And I gave them that number, and they want to know if I was really in it. I said, "Yeah, I'm interested." So they hired me, July 11th, 1955.
Wow. So what was your family background? What did your parents do in Longmont?
What did I do here in Longmont?
Your dad and your mom, what did they do?
I went to school.
Your parents?
Huh?
What, your father?
Oh, my father?
Yeah.
He was a laborer.
Okay.
My mother was a laborer. I mean,
farms or?
No. My father worked at the Colorado Brick Company. My mother worked at Kuhner Empson Cannon Factory. That's where they.
So you mentioned that you had were involved with nuclear weapons in the military.
In the military, yeah.
What was your work there?
In the military?
Yeah.
Was military weapons, nuclear weapons, atomic weapons.
And what did you do?
I was a crew chief on a crew. I have to be careful here what I'm saying. Assembling weapons and loading them in aircraft and checking them out.
So, if you could tell me what, when you first came to interview at Rocky Flats, what was your impression of the place?
Well, I had no idea what it was like, none whatsoever. What went on there? Mr. Eystone would never tell me. He just said, "You go out there and check for them and see." And I thought, well, wow, you know, what the hell is this place? I had no idea. So I went for a couple of interviews. I can't remember the first or second. I said, "I'll hire you. I'm going to make you an offer. Give me a day or two, and I'll get it. 2 personnel make you an offer." And so they sent me a letter, maybe an offer, and I was working at Colorado Brick down with my father. And I was working overtime there, and I was making more money than what they offered me. So I had, I know, a decision to make. And I thought, well, heck, I know I just come back here. I'm going to go for it. I'm going to see what. So I accepted the position. And gosh, the first day, you know Bob Shimp? Well, he and I started the same time, same day. And, well, there was a number of us that started that day. We went to a lot of security briefings, meetings, and over to medical. Actually, I went to medical before I accepted, and they offered me the job. Yeah, I went to medical. I had a physical and all that, the body count and all that. So when we started, I was in 111, and right after lunch, we ate lunch there, and right after lunch, we went down to the building, building 991, down the hill. You know, it was back. A lot of it was back under the ground. And the tunnels, you know, and I got down there and I said, Jesus Christ, what is this? I said to this guy, what do you think? He says, hell, I don't know. And the guards took us through the outer guard post there, and then one guard escorted us into the building, and we met the director of production, Ed Wacko, E.J. Wacko. Doug Brown was his assistant. They both worked at Los Alamos, I found out later. And the guy I went to work for, Paul Kreisenbach, worked at Los Alamos. They all three worked on some of the first tests, above ground tests. I thought, wow, Jesus, you know. So I trained quite a while there in 91. And you changed badge once, twice. Yeah. Changed badge twice before you got into the exclusion area. There was a little guard shack right there as you go through the double doors. The guard sat in there and he had your badge up there on he just get it and put it on top of your other badge. And went in the back and I thought, wow. It was totally what I want to say. I was flabbergasted, you know. The boss, I mean, he said, well, we'll go down through here. And we went down through down the hallway into the different rooms and different people working. He took me in there and introduced me to him, and, you know, and we got on down to the vault and we got in the tunnel and I thought, Jesus, what the hell is this, you know? Of course, I'd been in tunnels when I was in the military in Albuquerque at Kirtland Air Base. Mm-hmm. That's where I went to weapons school. And we had some tunnels there and up on Side Able. But this was different. Wow.
Deeper?
Huh?
It was deeper? Or, I mean, you went...
No, it wasn't deeper. It was just level. Uh-huh. But you were back underneath, you know, all this mound of dirt, all this dirt. You just a kind of a funny feeling. Yeah. Down there. So I started training. They started training me.
What was your job that you were?
My job was classified material specialist, handling radioactive components and non-radioactive components to be assembled. Cleaning them and then we assembled, and then we done some tests on them, the counts, neutron counts and different things, testing on them once it was assembled. And at that time the military was there and they done the certifying of the assembly and the testing of it. There was the Army, Air Force, Navy. It was an officer from every branch, and then they had a clerk. He was a staff sergeant, Air Force. They were there every morning they were right there, and if you were doing some work, they'd be back there, watch them, and stamp and seal and say, you know, this is good. So then eventually AEC came in and they pulled out. The military pulled out, the Atomic Energy Commission took over. Those guys, they were inspectors, you know, they come back and watch what you were doing, and they'd stamp maybe the paperwork, stamp and sign it that it was done according to the procedure, and it's okay. And then about 59, no, 58, and maybe 57, started construction on 1, 2, 3, 4 buildings, new buildings. 77, 76, 444, 440, was it 44 building, It was an addition on the 44 building. And is that 883? Yeah, 883. They started construction on those buildings. Once they finished 77 and 76, I went from 91 up to 77 to work up there in the dry box system where we had the dry boxes on. I worked as a material analyst, testing type work. And I done that about a year and a half. And then we're going to a second shift. We needed more production, going to a second shift. And they made me the second shift production foreman. So I went on the second shift as a production foreman, run the shift till 60 or 61, something like that, 60 or 61. I went into what we called R&D support type work, developing new processes or new things on I don't know how to say this, working with the design agencies a lot, from Livermore, Los Alamos engineers and physicists, on working with them and putting together their design to go to Nevada for testing. I've done quite a bit of that for 3 years maybe, roughly. Done a lot of that and done a lot of testing on those devices and everything for the Los Alamos and Livermore. That was interesting. I liked that. And then 64, 65, we started new programs again as Livermore, and we started looking at building 707. So I worked as a tech support, laying the building out and all the operations in the building.
Oh, wow.
From the foundry, the vaults, the foundry, all the way through. And the equipment, all the equipment that we would need in that building to support the numbers that the military or Washington or was it was still AEC at that time, I guess. Yeah, I think it was still AEC at that time. You know, the numbers, schedules. So I worked that. Oh, yeah, but from about 65, 66, we put in an operation there in 76, what we called the autoclave high pressure system. And I worked with a couple of guys, and we worked that running different tests, pressure, temperatures, you know, doing all that stuff, till we came up with parameters that we thought would work for Livermore. Then we had the fire, the 69 fire. Wow. I worked out. I was a shift manager, and we worked around the clock. We had 3 shifts plus a jump shift, and we rotated. What that was it? Every 2 weeks we rotated. Be on days 2 weeks, PMs 2 weeks, midnights 2 weeks. The jump shift was just a jump. I mean, it just filled in. I worked on that for about almost a year.
You were
decontaminating, 77.
You were in there cleaning it up. What was that like?
Pardon?
What was it like? The building, you know, what was the
It
condition?
was boring as hell.
Yeah.
You just go in there and just scrub. You know, you got to the point where the workers, you went in on your shift, you didn't come out for a break. You come out to have lunch. and then you went back in. But then you come out a little early because you didn't come out for break. So we give them that time, you know, at the end of the shift to come out early. It got so that you just had to drive them into the area. You just had to holler at them in the locker room, hey, get your suited up. Let's go, we got to get in now. It was boring. It's a boring job. Can you imagine being on a ladder and up on a wall there and you're scrubbing that wall trying to get the, and you're all suited up, you know, with a full face, 2 or 3 pair of coveralls and booties and all that. It got boring. It's boring as hell. You know, and they'd be up there scrubbing and they have maybe some water up there and some wipes. Then they throw the wipes down. We had somebody down here, you know, going around, picking up the wipes, putting them in a bag. I thought, God, will we ever get this place decontaminated, you know? And I was fortunate because at that time we were starting to bring 707 up, and they said, hey, Dingman, we want you over here. So they pulled me off the decon, and I went over to 07 and I was setting up the equipment and processes and getting it growing. So I kind of lucked out in a way versus some of the other guys, some of the other managers. That was boring.
Yeah.
Oh.
What was it like? What was the building like when you first
went in?
Went in, yeah.
There was no electricity. We cut all electricity, cut the ventilation system because it was contaminated. I mean, you walk in, you had to be suited up and breathing. When we first went in, we used tanks, you know, for our oxygen. We had supplied air. It's what we used. And as we got it, what we call cool down, got the count down to a certain level, then we could stop using supplied air. We suited up with a full face, went in a full face. First, on the first days that went in, the firemen had to finally go to water. Water's the last thing you use on plutonium. But they finally had to go to water because they couldn't get it out. They couldn't, it was burning like, oh God. You should see what was in there. All of the dry box gloves were melted, the Benelux was melted. You walk in, you're looking right inside the box. The dry box, a part right there. You're looking straight on it with no protection, except what you suited up. Not like it was before the fire, you know. And I thought, God, it's that weird feeling. Really weird. You're standing there looking at it. So I thought, guys, we got to get this part in a bag. We got to bag these parts, seal them off, you know. We got to stop the contamination from oxidizing, from the moisture contamination. That was going to be all over the place, you know. So we did that. And then there was water all over the floor, 2 to 3 inches of water where the firemen just, you know, they went in and they had, and of course it run out of the dry box and stuff down on the floor. So then we had these, what we call sheep dips, you know, where you walk under the line, where you had steps to get on the other side of the dry box line, step down, and well, those were full of water. They thought, oh my God, I wonder how much material's in there with that. You know, we got a criticality thing possibly here. So we took ration rings, which is goddamn, I can't think of the materials in glass. You heard of ration rings, glass ring?
Boron?
Boron,
yeah.
Boron, that's it, boron. And we sneak up to that sheep dip, and it's full of water, you know, and we took these ration rings and we just pushed them in there and let them settle down to the bottom and just keep pushing them in there that way. It was absorbing the neutrons, you know. The boron is a neutron absorber.
So were you afraid that if your the water in your bodies, if you guys came in to the sheep dips, and that could alone cause a criticality?
Oh yeah, I mean, was really, yeah, really concerned that, wow, you know, it was scary, really. I got to think like that, it was scary. Yeah, and we had a hell of a time cleaning those buildings up.
That was before it got boring, then.
Wow, yeah, we had a hell of a time cleaning those. Oh God.
Were you there for the actual fire, or just for the?
No, they called me because I knew 77 very well, and 76, and they called me and said, "Hey," I'm trying to remember. Was I on the second shift? Was I started over in 707? I think I started in 707, but they called me because I was familiar with the super dry room and 77 and all that ventilation and all that system. So they said, well, we'll get back with you, Dingman. If we want you to come out, we'll call you back. I said, okay, I'll be here. Well, they got it out. They didn't call me back. They said, oh, they did call. I said, well, we'll see you in the morning. We got one hell of a job ahead of us. Okay. And so Monday morning, I went there, and of course, they had everybody stopped quite a ways away from the buildings, you know. Had it all roped off. So we went to the cafeteria in there and had a meeting and kind of started setting things up to start cleaning it up. Yeah.
So then you got pulled off the cleanup to work on 707.
Yes.
And what were you doing?
I was involved with equipment. What equipment do we need? Working with facilities engineering on ordering equipment, different pieces of equipment, and then when I come in, getting it installed, getting it set up, coordinating all that, getting it set up, installed, getting it set up, and checking it out, and coming up with a process with that piece of equipment. And I enjoyed that. I liked that. That was good. It's interesting. Yeah, it was really good. And we had a good production building there on 707. It was unbelievable. It was really well designed, well planned, everything. I mean, it was beautiful. It was just, we done a lot of work in that building, production-wise, a lot. From, was it the fall of 70 or the spring of 71 when we started up? And then, of course, we shut down 89, and we didn't come back up. We always shut down at Christmas or in December. Cleaned everything up, you know, cleaned the lines, and done inventory before Christmas. We did all that like we normally would. And then when we came back after the first of the year, they said, you're not going up. Don't do anything. Don't start anything. Don't do anything. The equipment or nothing. Just don't touch it. Don't do anything, period. So then we got word that we probably wouldn't go back up. If we did, it'd be for one program on, we had a guy by the name of Dick Stewart that was kind of the program engineer for this program, and I was his assistant. I was assistant to the program. And we made plans, you know, and all that stuff that you do, and paperwork, all that stuff, you know. Who do you need? You had names, you know, for different areas. But we never did go back up. So, sad, very sad. I was out there about 2.5 weeks ago, and you know Dick Hill? No. Okay. Oh, he's a good friend of mine. He just got laid off 2.5 weeks ago, just before he got laid off. He called me and said, hey, Dingman. I said, well, I said, you know, my badge, since DOE moved the documents out of 460 down to the Federal Center, Us guys that had an electronic bat, you get through the outer gate. Got it through Rod Hoffman, the DOE guy there. Well, he's no longer there, he's down. So I lost that the 1st of October, end of September, that I lost that. But I could always go in and see Pat, or I can't think of the other woman's name. You know, I'll probably get a temporary badge to get. But Hill took me. We went, I met him up there at the outer building. And in fact, I seen, oh gosh, what's that woman's name? That other woman that day. It was in the morning, I think, yeah. And I went in the building waiting for Dick Hill, and she was there. She said, "Hey, Vern," you know. Oh my God, look at you, you know. So I chatted with her for a while, and then Hill showed up, and we got in his vehicle and we went down, and it's strange, really weird. He said, "You know where you're at?" And I said, "No, I don't. I couldn't, because most of the buildings were down, you know." And just about the time he says, "Well, we're on Central now," I looked to the left, and there's the fire department. I said, "I know who we're at now. That's the fire barn, I know."
Just completely transformed.
Just about, yeah. 44. By now, 44 is probably flat, right? And they'll be working on 371. 77, they were working 76, 77. 707 was down. It was gone. 750 was gone.
Were you sad to hear? Were you sad to hear that 707 went down after all the work you did?
Yeah, that's sad. It was. Put a lot of hours in there. Yeah. Done a lot of work for DOE, the military, or whatever you know. Lot. You know, it was a good plant. Dow Chemical was a good company, and Rockwell was a good company. I worked for both of them for quite a few years. They were very good, very people-oriented. Benefits were good. I mean, the work was not hard. You just had to use your head, you know what you were doing. It was a good place to work, very good. Benefits were good, you know, compared to everything else around the Denver area. You couldn't beat it. IBM was out over here in Boulder. They came in after a few years, and then Martin Marietta in South Littleton there. They came in, but up to that point, I think Rocky Flats was one of the top, and it was still the top, I think. When we shut down, it was it was an excellent place to work. It was, years ago, it was so secretive that nobody knew what the hell was going on out there, and you couldn't tell your kids or nothing.
Was that hard?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they go to school and they say, "Dad, the teacher, Dad, what do you do?" Well, I can't tell you. It's secret. Very secret then. Super secret back then. I mean, you never talked about it anywhere to anybody. When you left that plant, that was it. You didn't talk about it, period, to anybody. Where do you work? "Oh, I work out there." Where do you, well, we won't get into that, you know, I'm not talking about that. You just shut them right off. Yeah, it was very sensitive information back in those days. Yeah, planes couldn't fly over Rocky Flats. It was, what do you call it? A no-flight zone or something like that. I remember telling us that the military or civilian aircraft could not fly over Rocky Flats. It's a no-fly zone. You couldn't fly over it. But then I think later on they were, yeah, good, yeah.
Opened it up. I was wondering, you had said that you were going to take a pay cut when you started at Rocky Flats over Colorado Brick.
Yeah.
What made you decide to take that pay cut?
To go there?
Mm-hmm.
I thought, I'll give that a try. I could always come back to Colorado brick. I thought I'm going to give it a try, even though the money, I never forget, it was $330 a month was the offer. And I was making more than that. Of course, I was working overtime. I mean, more hours to make more than that. And I thought I'm going to try that. And then, after I accepted the job, and about the first 6 months to a year, I thought, Jesus, what did I do here? I said, now, this is heavy stuff. I mean, wow, you know, we're back in the tunnels there, you know, this guy's watching us work, this military guy's watching us do what, you know, and then we're down in the other tunnel, and then I thought, damn, I don't know. But then I made some friends that I worked with, you know, pretty good friends, and things started going pretty good. Then I started going to night school at CU and taking some, you know, some classes at night, engineering classes. And
did Rocky Flats pay for that?
Mm-hmm.
So
if you had was it a B average, I think, grade of B or better. Yeah, well, if you had a, you know, D or something, as I recall, they wouldn't pay for it. You had to pay for it. But as long as you had a good grade, they paid for it.
That's nice. So, in taking that pay cut from Colorado Brick, did you just think there would be more opportunity at Rocky Flats, or did you want to work for?
Yeah, right.
In the long term.
And get away from maybe the labor type work, you know. And I'm glad I did.
So did you end up getting a college degree?
Very interesting work. I enjoyed it very much. Yeah, I did. I didn't enjoy the cleanup after the fire, but I enjoyed just about everything else. Yes.
When you started, you were in the union?
What?
In the union when you started?
No. It was not in 91. They did not have a union in 91. There were two janitors down there. They were old coal miners from Louisville, and they were in the union. But they couldn't go into the exclusion area until you had everything put away and all the material put away. We were not unionized, but later on, a couple of years maybe or so, like that, the company, Dow Chemical, was wanting to, at that time, make those jobs union. So then everything would be union. Because that was the only building, because of the secrecy, that was not union. All the other buildings had, it was hourly union people, yeah. So they were getting ready to do that, and that's when I went up to 77 and worked there, and then became the foreman on the second shift. And the people in that building were union, but I wasn't.
So you were never union?
No, I never. I was working R&D type work, on technicians type work, and I went on the second shift as a foreman, so I never did go union.
Did you think the union had a lot of impact or importance at Rocky Flats?
Well, they were very safety conscious. So was management. I mean, we were very safety conscious. Everything. Exposures, everything. I mean, they're very safety conscious. The union was too, but now don't get me wrong, I say, but the union used that, I think, to a degree. Hey, you know, well, they could come up with anything, or guys come up with, hey, look at that ladder, oh, look at this list here, you know, and make a big deal out of it. Then it go on up to the union officials, you know, and then they're in with the labor relations and the safety people of the plant, and there you are. So they used that. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying there were times it wasn't justified in their case, but they used it to their benefit. If you know what I'm saying?
Did that ever make your job hard?
Yeah. Oh, God, at times, yeah. Jesus, it would drive you crazy. The hourly people with the steward, you know, the union steward, he'd be in your office. Hey, Dingman, hey, come on, get off of it. What the hell's wrong with you? You got those guys out there, got you all stirred up again, and here you're in here. Now, I have some time, but I don't have a lot of time. Now, let's sit down and talk about it. And if I don't agree with you, I'm going to tell you I don't agree with you. You do whatever you have to do. And that's how we handle them. You do what you have to do. We're not shutting it down. You understand? We're not shutting it down. Now, if you got a good legitimate, and we say, yeah, we'll shut it down and get it corrected. But we're not shutting down just based on what the hell you're saying all the time, you know. But they were pretty good. That union was pretty good to work with, really. I didn't have a whole lot of problem with union stewards, you know. They come in the office, we always sit down, discuss it, and got it. Most of the time, if you just give them a little bit of attention, say, yeah, you know, you could be right. Let's talk about that. You know, they, oh, wow, we got his attention, you know. And they were happy. Well, let me think about that. You guys go on, got booked. Okay, well, we'll talk to you later, boss. Okay. See, to a degree, sometimes it was psychological. Yeah, you know. They never heard about it again. Never heard from them again about that issue. Or maybe a different issue, you know, but not that issue. And I never brought it up, you know. I don't know, let's leave it lay. I'm not gonna. But it was good though, really. The majority of the people were really good. The hourly people, management, I mean, very good. We had a really, overall, I'd say we had a hell of a good working crew out there. And we had a lot of minorities because we had that EEO, you know, program, the government plant. We tried to make our commitments, you know, to fill them. We had a lot of, but they were good workers.
Did it cause any, when you first brought a lot of minorities into the plant, did that cause any complaints among the workers who'd been there for a while?
No, not really, as I recall. No.
How about women?
They would get upset if the worker wasn't producing. You know, they'll get one that's kind of lazy. You know, so they come, Dingman, when the hell did you get to say, hey, you know, these are hourly jobs. Personnel hired them. They qualified for the job, and that's why they're here. And I said, I'll take care of it. Don't get excited. I'll let him go a little bit, and then I'll start working on him. Then most of the time we start working on them, they start coming around, you know. And so I go to these guys, hey, we don't want to talk about it anymore. I said, okay.
And how about women?
Huh?
How about when women came to work on the production line?
Yeah, it was a little different at first, but we got into it. One of the main things we had problems with was harassment to a degree. Magazines, pictures, you know.
In the locker rooms?
Playboy, and some, then pretty soon there's magazines, there's naked women, you know, and all of a sudden they're going to be Vern. I said, okay. I said, take the magazine. Of course, you couldn't take it up front because it was in the area. It could have been contaminated, you know. So we just take it and shred it in a production control office. Take it over there and shred it. Get rid of it.
They have them in the glove boxes?
No, it wasn't in the glove box. It was in a desk, maybe in this room, or a desk in this module where the dry boxes are. No, it wasn't in a glove box.
They're reading the magazine with their gloves on.
Oh, if they could have got away with that, they probably would have. Yeah, but no, it worked out pretty good. There were quite a few women. Towards the last 15, 20 years we were in operation, yeah. Quite a few. You know, they were always, hey, Vern, why don't we go on for a drink? We're not going. We're not going for a drink. We want to take you for a drink. No, we're not going. No. Not just you and I, or you and your friend and I. No, we're not going. Come on, what the hell's wrong with your thing? I said, nothing wrong with me. I'm not going. stove, just forget it.
You didn't want to get...
Oh, well, they would want me, you know, go down and Wadsworth or one of those places and have a few drinks, you know, and oh, we got the boss out, you know, and bullshit, you know. No. I never, no. Well, we had women, you know, managers, other women. Mm-hmm. But if the hourly people were going to be there, we usually had 2 or 3 foremen or managers and foremen stuff, you know, we're all kind of together. So when they come, they weren't any funny business, or they couldn't come make up some funny business stuff, you know. Well, I'm sure they blackmailed. I had some, but they try to blackmail.
You've heard stories.
Oh yeah, I cracked them. One was a black woman, and she was not her time card, not forging, but she was, I can't think of the word, fraudulently putting 8 hours down and she wasn't there. Or she put 10 hours on there. So Effie, I had to pop her, I had to crack her. And I got her, and I told her, Effie, next time you're gone, I'm not going to mess with you. Let's go get the labor relations, get your union steward. We're going to sit down, we're going to talk about it now. Because if it happens again, you're gone. So the guy by the name of John Chavez in the seminar for me, very nice guy. He was a union steward. He was in the union, pretty heavy. So shortly after that happened, he came to me, sat in my office, and he said, hey, boss, what are you doing? I said, well, not what are you doing? No. Got a few minutes? I said, well, sure, sit down, John, we'll chat. He says to me, do you lock your car in the parking lot? And I says, well, yeah, sometimes, most of the time, but not always, John. He says, you know, I had a friend in Boulder, and his boys used the car. The next day he goes out to, what the hell's that place out north of Boulder, that government kind of plant there? What the hell's the name of that? I can't think of the name of it. But anyway, yeah, this guy worked there, John told me. Said he worked there. And his kids had some pot, and they were smoking it, and they left it in the car. So when he was going to leave, the guard searched his car and got him. And he said, it'd be damn hard to prove. Hey, that's your kid's, not yours. And he says, you know, and not be a bad idea that if you make damn sure you lock your car from now on. I said, I got the message, John. I read you, I got it. They were, after I cracked Effie, after I busted her, they were back there talking. I said, well, we'll fix him. We'll put some stuff in his vehicle. And we'll call the guards and say, when that car leaves, I think there's some drugs or something in it. Guards pull you over, and there you are, you're dead.
So did John Chavez get wind of the fraud?
Chavez picked it up back in the back. They were talking that, hey, we'll fix Dingman. After I busted her, we'll fix him. That's what he was trying to tell me. I picked up on it right away. I said, I got you, John. He said, you sure? I said, yeah, I got you. My car will be locked from now on. He says, good.
Wow.
Oh yeah, you know, they'll try things though. She was really upset because, but I said, you know, Effie, I could have fired you. You know, you were cheating. You weren't being honest on your time card. Now, I think we better just leave it at that, Effie, and not go and push it to go any further. She said, okay. So that was it.
Did you feel that Rocky Flats was a safe place to work?
Yes, no question.
What did you think about the way that it was portrayed in the media?
About the way what?
The way the safety at Rocky Flats was portrayed in the media.
The safety?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, I guess, but I do know that the safety program out there was a damn good safety program. I mean, it was excellent, very good. Yeah, the safety at Rocky Flats is one of the best in the country. And we got the records to show it. And every now and then we all have a meeting, you know, different departments, and they'd show this. countrywide, where Dow Chemical was right on top at Rocky Flats.
So the protests and all the reports, how did all that stuff make you feel then?
You know, I didn't pay attention to the protest. I don't want to go out there and protest, stand out there like idiots, let them. As long as they don't keep me from going in to do my job. I could care less what they did. Except I think they were entirely in the wrong, but that's my thoughts. I mean, yeah, those protesters are a bunch of idiots. I mean, that's what I think, you know.
Were you ever exposed to any contaminants,
Huh?
radioactivity? Were you ever exposed to radioactivity or contaminants?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I got a little bit of Plut in me, yeah. And I'm, one time I was a borderline for Berylliosis.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You worked with beryllium too?
Mm-hmm. In the final stage,
Oh.
plutonium and
So
beryllium
little-
in the final stage, you know. I had 2 or 3 guys working for me, Walters, that got Berylliosis. One guy's pretty bad, yeah.
Do you think they could have taken precautions or taken better care of them?
Well, we thought we had good safety procedures in place. But you can have all the safety procedures you want in place. If they don't follow those, that doesn't do you much good. And I think in a couple cases, these guys didn't follow them totally.
Mm-hmm.
There were times that maybe they didn't have their respirator on and they should have. You follow me?
Mm-hmm.
You know? So I don't know. And then there were times at that time we didn't maybe realize that, hey, we were picking up some dust, beryllium dust, you know. And when we discovered that we were, then we took steps to eliminate that, or wear a respirator, or wear protection. Mm-hmm. Right, yeah. So, I don't know.
Do you know how you were exposed to plutonium?
Well, you know, this is interesting. I've told a few people. Back in '93, I belonged to the Radiation and Beryllium Worker Program. I was over in medical doing my, I think it's every 3 years you do physical, total x-ray, the whole works, blood work. Then when you get all done with a body count and all that, you sit down with at this time we sat down with Bissline, the doctor, you know, and he was going through my files and he says, "Oh, Dingman, I see here where your aneurysm level jumped up a little bit." He says, "How'd you get that?" I said, "Well, when was it?" He said, "Well, in '69. I said, "This is the first I've heard about it." And it was. He says, "Nobody's ever told you?" I said, "No, I didn't know about that." "Nobody's ever told you?" I said, "No, nobody's ever told me." So I was really surprised. And I said, "Well, how is it going along, you know, since '69? He said, "It's staying right just above the background, just as steady as can be from the urinalysis, you know." And I said, "I have no idea, unless I got up decontaminating from the fire." Mm-hmm. That one night or one day I was in there, maybe it broke, the seal broke a little bit. But, you know, I don't know. I said, "I can't answer that, I have no." He says, "You sure?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "I didn't even know I had any."
Did that upset you that they hadn't told you?
Well, a little bit. It bothered me, you know. It kind of bothered me a little bit, you know. Why didn't they tell me? Why didn't somebody say, you know? I never heard it. Nobody ever said. Maybe it wasn't enough to call attention to it, but anything about background is enough.
Do they change? Maybe they changed the standards or something, or
The what?
or maybe they changed the threshold at which they tell you.
I could be. I don't know. But this guy has worked in that field. Bissline, you know, all the time he's there. He said, "I don't know. I have no idea unless it was from the fire. Clean up from the fire. That's the only time I said, "Well, it's in here." I said, "Okay, what do you know what he does?" Well, he says, it's there. I said, well, I see that now. You showed it to me.
But your health has been okay.
Yeah, I don't know. You know, the body count where they count your lungs and all that, it doesn't show. It's just in the urine analysis. Maybe it's hung up on the kidneys, what little bit I have, you know. I don't know.
Interesting. Wow. We only have about 10 minutes left.
Okay.
Wondering if, you could tell me, I'm not sure when you retired. When did you leave the plant?
When did I retire?
Yeah.
January of '92.
January of '92. So you were there for the FBI raid?
The what?
The FBI raid?
Oh, yes, I was there.
What are your memories of that?
Oh, well, you know, they didn't hit 707 really hard. They hit more in the waste operations recovery. 771, that's 371, mainly 771. They were down in the area, yeah. They pull right in there, you know, with the vehicles and get out and put the paper coveralls on the booties, you know, and they come over and say, well, we want to go. And okay. But where they were zeroing in was mainly, I think, a 771, the incinerator. The waste operations down there, and the waste operations under, that was that Bill Weston and Ed Naiman at the time. They were the big guns and management over those areas. I don't know how true it is, but I heard, you know, a couple times that there were 2 women in 71 operators. I don't know what happened, but they were very unhappy down there. And they're the ones that said, hey, you know what they're doing here? And they turned them out. Now, I don't know how, if there's any truth to that or not, but that's how it got started. The couple hourly ladies, women, 3 to 3 women down in 71 got ticked off and blew the whistle. Thought they blowing the whistle, blew the whistle, whatever.
Do you think that the raid was justified?
Huh?
Do you think the raid was justified?
Would I what?
Do you think there was the raid? There was any reason why they should have raided? Come to.
Well, I wasn't in the waste operation, so you know I'm not sure how everything went, but I'd hate to say. I don't know.
How did you feel? How did you feel when production stopped?
Well, we just felt like, does this guy know what the hell he's doing? God, what's his name? In Washington?
Watkins?
Yeah, Admiral Watkins. You know, what's he doing? What the hell is he doing? We got tanks, liquid solution of Plutonium 71. We got parts everywhere in the building. You know, Jesus, what the hell does he think he's doing? You know, wow, you know. You know what he should have done, I say, is continue processing, but don't start any new stuff. Continue processing, and then when you get all those parts used up, you know, you can ship them, then button things up. You know, burn all the oxide and the metal and melt it down and put it in the can. No, here we sat. All these goddamn parts out there and all the oxide, 71, those big tanks full of liquid. Hey, this guy's gotta be unbelievable. Instead of him coming in and sitting down with DOE and Rockwell management saying, hey, what would it do to you people if we just shut it down right now? And no, you know, oh, you can't do that. We got to process this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It cost them millions of dollars more by doing it the way they did it.
Do you think that, given how much the community had grown around Rocky Flats, that having a nuclear weapons plant there was still a good idea?
Yeah, because the people don't have to move in there. They don't have to move there, you know.
But they did, right?
They did, yeah. But I don't think, no. Of course, a lot of the people that moved there, I think, a lot of them worked at the plant.
Yeah.
I knew a number worked, you know, east of the plant there, east of Indiana. What the hell's that next street? Main thoroughfare.
Wadsworth?
Huh?
Is it Wadsworth?
What's it?
Wadsworth? Is it
No,
no,
before you get to Wadsworth. Starts with a K.
Kipling.
Kipling.
Yeah.
There's homes right in there, you know,
Yeah.
out there on Kipling and that. Hell, a lot of those people probably, some of them worked at the plant, you know. Well,
How do you feel about working in a plant that produced nuclear weapons?
well, let me put it this way. I hope we never have to use one, but I think we need them to, for deterrent, to protect ourselves. Definitely. There's no question in my mind. If we didn't have them, you don't know what the hell could happen. You know, I definitely feel that way. But that doesn't mean that we have to use them unless we have good justification to use them. Hopefully we never will have to use one. I say that, and people ask me, I said, well, I hope we don't have to use one, because I don't want to use one. I don't want to see one used. But we need them to protect ourselves from the rest of the world. Definitely. There's no question in my mind. I mean, we need them.
So, what were the best and worst things about working at Rocky Flats?
What's what?
Best and worst things about working
The
at
best
Rocky
of work?
Best things and the worst things about working at Rocky Flats.
I didn't.
Your favorite things about Rocky Flats and your least favorite things.
Well, the favorite things, I guess, is it was a good place to work. It was secure. You had a job security up until the shutdown. Even then, though, it went many years beyond cleaning it up. Job security, it was a safe place to work. The working conditions were excellent, as far as I was concerned. I mean, if you worked in the back with the gloves, dry box, I mean, everything was very secured. I mean, you didn't have any problem feeling uneasy about working in there. None whatsoever. There was a good, steady job, good benefits. The majority of the people were good to work with, excellent to work with. There's only one thing, a couple things bad. The wind.
I've heard that before.
And in the wintertime, blizzards. Those are the two things. The wind and the blizzards, yeah. God, I've been in some blizzards out there. Oh. When I lived in Boulder before we moved back to Longmont, I remember a couple of times, Jesus Christ, you know, Highway 93 there was a sheet of ice and the wind blowing so hard it was actually blowing our vehicle. Damn near blew it off the road, just, you know, damn, Jesus. Yeah, but outside of that, I enjoyed going to work. I really did. Well, you know you got to work if you're going to eat, you know. So I enjoyed going to work. I did. It was interesting to me. I felt like I was really doing something, accomplishing, you know. The majority of the people were fun to work with, you know what I mean? They were easy to work with. You could get along with pretty good. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I miss it very much, yeah. Before I retired, I knew some DOE people pretty well because I used to work with them with the schedules and shipments and stuff. So I told them, you know, I've had enough of this baloney with this cleanup and all this. I said, every time you turn around, somebody's on your case. I'm just sick of it. So I think I'm going to retire. I'm going to The guy said, well, come on to work for us in our DOE office. And I said, well, okay. Well, that only lasted about 6 months. I couldn't handle it. Because we go into meetings up there in the DOE office or the DOE building there, and they sit there and they would ridicule the management down in the buildings. And they didn't know themselves about contamination or material. They had no idea what the hell it. But after we shut down, boy, I'm telling you, they were right in the middle of everything. And they were ridiculing the management in the building, doing the best they could. I said, hell, I can't handle this. I got to get out of here. I won't sit here and listen to this. So I ran into a guy.
Can I stop you? I'm Hannah Nordhaus. I'm interviewing Vern Dingman. It's the 6th of April, and this is tape number 2, and he's going to continue his story. Okay.
But then I ran into Dwayne Catlett. He was head an officer at Rocky Flats, Los Alamos then, of about 8 or 9 people. And they were technical type, supporting Rocky Flats operation. So he said, what are you doing, Dingman? I said, well, you know, and I told him my story. He said, oh, hell, don't. No. He says, come see me tomorrow. So I went and seen him the next day. He said, I'll hire you. I said, when can I start? I want to get the hell out of that DOE office. I got to get out of there. I said, I can't take it anymore. Because they're down on everybody. They're cutting everybody down. They're down on management. That's it. And they don't know what the hell they're doing or what they're talking about. And they didn't. They had no idea what the hell, you know. So I went to work for him, and then I worked at Rocky Flats. I'd done some work down at the lab. Then I gradually started phasing into doing more work at the lab, consulting work. That's where I am today.
So what do you do for the lab now?
Consult, weapons, weapons type, what we did at Rocky Flats.
This is helping them.
In 07, yeah.
Helping them build up their production.
Get set up and processes and stuff.
Is that interesting?
But now we run into a situation where they say, hey, you know, if you're going to work down here, you live here. Well, I said, I'm not living there. So I had to go try to get a different contractor, because I'm a contractor consultant. I'm not a lab employee. So I'm in the process where they are trying to get my contract approved with the HR. I guess they've rewritten it about 2 or 3 times now. So I don't know if it's going to go through or not. And you know, another month I may not be working, period. If it doesn't go through, they say, well, okay. The hell with it, you know. If you don't want me, yeah, that's fine.
So, and what was the job that you had when you left Rocky Flats? What was your last job there?
My last job? I was a facility manager, 707.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you did that for a long time, working with the facility there. So you knew that building.
Yes.
Well.
I knew it from one end to the other. Yeah. Everything in it. I mean, I knew it.
One question, if you were to take the as-built of 707 and take what the building was when it was shut down, would they be very different places?
Yeah.
Were there a lot of changes made?
Yeah.
What sort of changes?
Well, equipment, processes. You know, you get into the later technical equipment and stuff that's more technical, and you can get data as you're doing things now. Years ago, we couldn't do them. But in today's world, yeah, there's equipment that you can do that.
What was your favorite part of that building?
707?
Yeah.
The assembly, welding, testing area. That was the manager's that.
Why?
Why? It's interesting. It was interesting work. You know, because you had different programs And they were all a little bit different, you know, designs. And it was just interesting to see the different programs going through the area, though. Some was welded different than others. Some were pressure tested different than others. I mean, it was just kind of a variety, and it was interesting. And then when a new program would come in, it was really interesting, you know, bringing it in and getting it qualified and getting it certified and your operation certified, so you could ship WR product, War Reserve product. Well, you get up in the foundry and the fab area, you know, it's the same all the time. Mm-hmm. You're casting, rolling, you know. They roll in a certain part. They have no idea what that part, where that's going to end up. Same way in fabrication machining. Those machinists, you know, they get a paperwork that's this part, use this tape, cut it to this. That's what they did. But down at the end, you see it all come together. You follow me? Yeah. And then some, we had to add hardware to them, you know, heliarc hardware to some of them at the end. Leak checking, you know, and testing and all that. It was just interesting, you know. It got pretty stressful at times, meeting schedules. I mean, boy, they were on your case. Don't miss the shipment, Dingman. Okay. If you like your job, yeah, well, don't miss the shipment. That's what Benjamin used to tell me, the assistant plant manager off and on. He said, don't miss the shipment. Oh, I won't, Art. We got it covered. We're all right.
So, and then your work at Los Alamos is basically telling them how it worked at 707.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. A lot of that, yes, technology. Yeah. Documentation that we shipped down though. Mm-hmm. You know, and what we call the B books, the bomb books, that was generated when you made something. You documented everything you did to that part and those parts, you know. So it's, you know, that's all down there, and they'll come, hey, let's go, we want to go check on this one. To get the serial number, and we'll go over into the records, you know, and ask them to pull that book with this serial number, this system with this serial number, and then we'll start going through the book, and I'll explain it to some of the engineers down there, how, you know, what some of those sheets are, data sheets are, that we generated at Rocky Flats. You know, now do you want to do this? You want to generate some here? You know, it's up to you. You guys are the boss. I'm not. I'm the, you know.
Okay, one more question, and then I think we need to get you to your appointment. What do you remember about the 57 fire?
Oh, that was in '71, the Plutonium, yeah. We went to work one morning, and we pulled into the plant, and we had it roped off. And you had to park in a certain area there, and we couldn't get over to 77, had it all roped off. It was too close to the 771 Plutonium fire. And it was, I think, well, I'm not sure, but I think they were concerned about radiation coming out the stock, you know, and drifting down towards 707, or no, that would be 91 building, yeah, back then. Because that was in 57. Hell, 77 wasn't even built yet, or we weren't in operation. It was 91 down in the, yeah. And we stayed outside the outer guard post. Oh, they didn't want us going in the building, because I think what they probably thought, if it starts drifting down, it'll pick it up and put it in a ventilation system, and it'll be through the whole damn building. No, yeah. Yeah, it burnt the hell out of some of the filters, I guess, in 71. You know, I just, that was not a good fire either. I mean, those things are not good. So, yeah, I remember that. We couldn't go into the building for, I don't remember if it was all day or just a half a day, or I don't remember for sure. But I remember we stood outside And then pretty soon we was sitting down on the ground because you got tired of standing, you know. That's vaguely what I remember about that.
Okay, well, anything else?
No, I don't think so.
Well, thank you very much.
Huh?
Thank you.
Well, you're welcome. It was an excellent plant. It was run very well by Dow Chemical and Rockwell International both. Yes. EG&G? No. Kaiser Hill? No. From what I hear.
Okay, so what do you think about the cleanup efforts?
Oh, I think they've done a hell of a job. Good job. I'm not sure how good a job they've done in this period of time when they predicted out to this time and this time, you know, and then all of a sudden it's all coming together. Mm-hmm. You know, what happened, what took place? Did you make some bad calculations or what happened? Of course, I don't trust Kaiser Health. I don't think much of them, and I don't think much of EG&G either one of them. So.
Why?
They weren't people-oriented, for one thing. They came in like a bull in a china closet, and EG&G with all their retired Navy admirals and captains and all that, and they thought they knew everything because they were on a nuclear sub, and a nuclear sub's entirely different than Rocky Flats plant like that, and we tried to tell them that. Okay, the hell with you, you know.
Okay, well, we better get you going. So
okay.
Thank you very much.
Oh.